All right, man. When we were locked down on quarantine, couldn't go anywhere, shelter in place, don't do anything, don't talk to anyone. All we could do, really, at least for 2 weeks, is watch TV, horror movies, whatever. In my case, it was YouTube backlogs of the vloggers that go to theme parks all the time. And one of the most entertaining couples that definitely helped me take my mind off things, and I'm sure they definitely helped you as well, is Chris and Amanda Provost from Provost Park Pass. So we welcome them. How are you guys doing, man?
Good. It's good. We're so thrilled to be here. We're just thrilled that you would have us be here for the halfway to Halloween, because we love Halloween, we love horror, and we love talking to you. So this is exciting.
So thank you. We're so excited.
So right now it seems like we keep hearing June 15th here in California is like when the state's going to fully open up. But I know you guys were, as soon as you could get to World in Florida, you guys were there with bells on and you were ready to go. So I gotta say, man, like you really led the charge as far as mine going back, because watching you guys, even when the virus was really in its heyday, we were like, it doesn't look as bad as what would have you believe. So we had a great time. It is a different Disney World feel, but it has a whole lot of good in there too.
It was, what's interesting about that is because it opened up in July and we got invited to actually go before it was open to the public to do like a sneak preview of it. And I think I was scared. I was nervous about going out there, traveling, because everything you heard in the news was about like, this is the worst thing ever. And then when I got down there to Florida, I realized it's not as bad as I think. Well,
Disney had done a really good job with, precautions and temperature checks and keeping everyone safe. They did a fantastic job. And so it was really a good opportunity for us to really dig deep into Disney World, something that we probably would not have done if we hadn't been pushed over there. And I don't tell a lot of people this, so I'm telling you guys this, and I'm expecting you to hold this. So when we went to Disney World for the first time, it was pre-pandemic. We were trying to do the world tour, and I wasn't a huge fan of Disney World. I'm like, oh, it's huge. Yes, I'm telling you guys to hold this, right? I'm like, oh, it's so big, and it's, I was so used to Disneyland, like my little home Disneyland. So I was like, oh, okay, all right, I like it, but yeah, okay. Now I love Disney World because we've been able to go back a lot this year. And I'm telling you, like, I have completely fallen head over heels in love with Disney World. I have that like itch to go back to Disney World. I've been able to kind of peel back all those layers and look at how amazing it is. Like, it is huge. There is so much to it. There are so many incredible things there. So, I love it. I love Disney World now. So I'm glad you were able to go experience it too.
It's definitely, you say that about Disneyland, the intimacy thing is definitely in Disneyland. Like going to Disneyland now and telling my wife we'll never experience it the way that we got to on opening day, just because there's no one there.
Right.
The intimacy is still there. Like everyone, it still feels intimate. It still feels different. Disney World is more definitely spread out. That's like one thing you guys will probably find interesting is they won't do the cavalcades in Disneyland because they said the streets are too narrow. So what they do, especially in California Adventure, is the characters are just like on this revolving door. and that fountain, it's like a Halloween party. That fountain out in front of the Carthay Circle, they're doing all the like Snow Whites and all the different rare characters you would never see otherwise. The cast members, like, if pictures are your thing, just sit here and get back in line, because by the time you get to the front, it's going to be somebody else. Yeah. So, but with you guys looking towards summer, are you guys coming to Disneyland? Like, as soon as they say, okay, everyone who can come, you know, the whole park, I don't think reservation thing, I don't think that's leaving anytime soon. But like, if you get to, get your ticket and your reservation as soon as you guys can, you gonna hop over?
100%, for sure. Absolutely. The reservation thing that's not going away anytime soon. That's going to be with us for a while for Disney, because they're trying to maintain crowds and everything like that. But yeah, the second we're going to be there, we're going to be there.
I think the reservation system has actually turned out okay. When I, first heard about it, I was like, how is this going to work? It's worked out. Okay. Yeah. I think it's a good way to kind of control maybe the crowds. I don't know. I feel like crowds are still going to be there, but it's a way to be a little bit more organized. We are anxiously awaiting, though, for passes to come back, annual passes to come back at Disneyland. That will be amazing when and if those come back, and how they're going to be.
The vibe you get anyway is that it almost feels like they're going to do like the availability like window and reservation like ahead of time.
Yeah.
So like the premium like diamond level, like your availability window maybe 5 months, and we may let you book like at that 5 month, and then like the low tier your availability window maybe 30 days, and you got to wait within the 30 days or something.
I think you're actually probably onto something there. They are going to be doing the annual passes. We don't know a lot about it. From what we've heard and gleaned, is we know that they are coming back, but they are going to be different, and it will probably be on a reservation. You won't be able to just hop in every day like we used to be able to do, like every single night we just go to Disneyland. I think you now have to kind of plan it just a little bit better. If there's availability, then you can go, but you have to check the calendar before you go.
Yeah, and I think it might be a little less convenient for some people, but it might be more convenient for some people. And so I think they're trying to take everything into account and do the best that they can with the situation that we've been given this year.
Yeah.
In the past.
Now, do you guys have annual passes in Florida?
We don't have annual passes in Florida, and that's a little bit of a sore spot that Chris can tell. I'm kidding, but we actually,
she's not kidding.
We actually surprisingly have annual passes to Disneyland Paris. That's another park that I am head over heels completely in love with. And they've kept our passes valid, and they've added on days since it's been closed. And so we're able to go to Disneyland Paris when that opens.
So
yeah, we're hopeful to go to their next big anniversary thing that you'll have your pass valid for.
Yeah, you'll love it. When we were doing the world tour, for those of you who maybe didn't know, we were going to every Disney park around the world. And we made it halfway around the world to Paris when the pandemic hit, and we had to come home. And when it hit, so we had gone to Florida for about 3 weeks. And now we're in Paris for about 2 weeks. They sent us back to Florida just to kind of wait. Because they thought, it's going to blow over in about a week, be fine. And at that time, Amanda's like, we should buy annual passes to Walt Disney World. I was like, no, I said, we don't need to do that because we're going to go around the world. We'll end up in Disneyland. We'll be at Disneyland every day. We don't need to do that. And she's like, I think we should. I'm like, no, we shouldn't.
And there were a lot of things that were supposed to happen in the parks around the world last year. Like Tokyo had a lot going on. I think it was the Beauty and the Beast that was opening.
Yeah.
There were just a lot of things that were happening. And so we didn't think we would make it back to Florida.
Yeah, we didn't think. And so we didn't. So when we opened up in July and we went back there, I'm like, okay, we better get annual passes. They had stopped selling them. Yeah. So you can't buy annual passes for Florida anymore. If you had one, it's still good to go, but they're no longer selling new annual passes.
But I feel like Disney World, the pricing is okay if the longer you stay. And so if you're going for a long period of time, the price per day drops a lot. And so that's something that's been able to help out a little bit. But
I was just more thinking towards the availability for reservations, pass holder versus, you buying them ticket holder. And then if you stay on property, you get like a priority factor involved there. Like, so I'll be curious when Disney does their reservation system, how they're going to work that out as far as priority factor goes. But let's talk about that, man. You guys, it seems like so long ago now, having gone through the pandemic, but you had this super exciting announcement that you're going to do content from every park, every Disney park.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, coming in and watching your guys' Potter stuff is cool too when you guys are at Universal. So God knows if you would have found your way down to Osaka, and I know all this because we were going to go when I graduated college and then COVID happened. So the Japan stuff was unbelievably awesome. And so it's like, we're going to watch them do it and then know everything to do. And then we're going to go. And then COVID happens. Because you guys went to Paris first, right?
We went to Florida first. We were in Florida. So what ended up happening, the plan was we went to Walt Disney World. I think we were there for 3 weeks. Then we were going to go to Disneyland Paris for 2 weeks. And then from Disneyland Paris, we're going to go to Hong Kong. And then from Hong Kong, we're going to go to Shanghai. Then from Shanghai to Tokyo. Then from Tokyo, we're going to stop in Aulani. There's a Disney resort in Hawaii to show that. And then we're going to end up in Disney. We're going to hit everything and show it. So what happened is the very day that we flew to Florida, that's when Shanghai closed. Disneyland Shanghai closed. And we heard about that, and we were just like,
it was interesting. We had kind of heard a little bit about it before. I met with 5 different physicians, doctors, because I'm like, okay, talk to me about what's going on in China. We're planning on going. And no one was concerned. Not a single professional was concerned because there have been viruses in the past that we've, encountered and dealt with in our world. So no one was concerned that it would be as big of an impact. And so that's why we felt confident to still go. We had to clear by professionals. And then when Shanghai closed,
we kind of I'm like, oh, well, it'll only be closed for a week or 2. It's probably a publicity stunt that China's trying to do. I didn't know what I was thinking.
We didn't know what.
And so we got there, and then the very next day they closed Disneyland Hong Kong.
Yes.
And that was, we're like, oh, that's a little weird. Yes. But we figured out, well, we have 6 weeks before I think we get to Hong Kong.
People still thought they'll be closed for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just to get a handle on things.
And so we went to Florida over there, and then we went to Paris. And then as our time in Paris was ending and realizing Hong Kong was not reopening, this is in February. And we made some changes, and they sent us back. So we came back to Florida. And they're like, hey, why don't you go on a Disney cruise? And by the time the Disney cruise is done, then what we'll figure everything out. So we went on a Disney.
Tokyo is still open.
Yeah, Tokyo is still open.
And so they said, okay, well, you can go to Tokyo. And then by then Hong Kong will be open and Shanghai will be open. We just had a lot of
go the other way around the world. Right. So we got on the cruise, and we didn't realize, we had no idea how serious this was. We get on the cruise. We get to, I think we were the second to last cruise. We land for Disney. We got in. We didn't get sick or anything. We flew home, and they're like, just wait about 3 weeks, and then it's going to blow over. And by now, it's the very beginning of March. And then, of course, the world just shut down.
We never left.
Yeah, we were just like, oh, we're here at home forever. And so, it was really crazy. And a lot of people, what was very interesting is we had edited these videos. Now, a lot of people they don't understand the editing process takes a while. We're not just like vlogging, walking and talking camera. We're trying to edit a story or tell some cool history or facts about an attraction. So it takes a while to edit. So we're still putting out content, and people still thought we were down in on a cruise ship. And they're like, you're gonna die. And we're getting all these messages. Yeah. And we're like, this is like 3 weeks ago. We're still putting out content. So.
And the question we get asked the most is, are you going to do that again? Are you going to try to do the tour again? And we will absolutely visit other Disney parks when it's safe and we're able to do so. Yeah. I know of someone in Shanghai, and they said, I actually used to live close to Shanghai, and they said that it's fully open. No one's in masks. They're great. They're doing great. You can't go into China right now, really, as an American, I think. But the world is starting to come back, and the parks are starting to open up. Disneyland Paris is opening up June 17th. Things are starting to open back up again. So that looks promising.
Mm-hmm. The thing, too, is at least you guys were home when it got bad.
Yes.
We were safe. Yes.
Yeah. That was that's the scary thing. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily realize that videos take time to edit. When you guys put them out, is the level of appreciation, knowing, trying to do it and everything. like when you're putting out a video, almost daily, it seems like of, you're doing a secrets revealed, and then you're doing like a live where it looks just like how you guys look right now, and you're talking to people watching, or you got, something going on. Now you got your podcast going on. So that takes time. So like, it takes a lot of dedication to do, and then planning a worldwide trip. And the one thing, like, it's funny looking back on when that happened, because you're on that trip and you at a certain level, because I know how I know it's Disney we're talking about, but shit, man, my naiveness was we literally had a vacation booked March 21st.
Oh my goodness.
March 21st. We were supposed to be at the Grand Californian with my aunt and uncle, cousin coming home from Boston. And Gavin Newsom put out an order and said, like, California theme parks have special circumstances they're allowed to stay open. And my naive ass like looked up at my boss and I go, look at Disney, like Disney's not gonna do it. And literally I looked at my phone again and it was like 2 seconds after that, Chapek or Iger at the time or whoever it was like, Disney has decided to shutter its parks. I'm like, oh God. Like and like if Disney's closing, like if that company's closing, the one company that will take the very last penny out of your pocket is closing, we're in trouble.
That's exactly right. We thought the same thing.
And I think
lots of people thought that.
I think it's the thing. Disney is a constant in our life. It's been there for always. I think we took it for granted. And when it was removed, when Disneyland was removed, I think it caused a lot of people like, this feels weird. And I think it also helped it exacerbated the problem of how serious COVID was, because there was like exactly what we're saying. If Disney's closing, then this is bad. And so then at that point, things
got serious.
Got real serious. So
with you guys deciding to do like the videos of you guys riding the rides in your house. And it was like, just like the ideas that you kept up, because it's like you do at that point, you have an audience. Our podcasting numbers, like Disney has a way with people that resonates with everybody, and you can be a horror fan and love Disney. You can never see a horror movie in your life, love Disney.
Yeah.
If I do a podcast and we're just recording the audio, walking around the park, and like we're riding through Haunted Mansion for the 500th time.
Yeah.
It's still going to be the highest listened to thing we put out because it's the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland. And so with you guys in that fan base and that craving to see you either in the parks or talking about the parks or all of that, like what kind of a brainstorm session did you guys sit down and have to be like, okay, we're going to do rides in the house. We're going to cook this.
It was panic time.
It was panic time. It was really hard. I look back at that time and it was hard for everyone. It was so hard for everyone. Everyone was, so scared and panicked, and it was so hard. I look back on that and I think, wow, that really was so hard. But I think one thing that we do and that Chris is really good at, and we've done from the beginning, is to just kind of follow our gut, like what feels good that we want to do. And I was like, you know what? I want to create a Monte Cristo sandwich. I'm craving a Monte Cristo sandwich. Let's make one at home. Let's do that at home, or let's do the Disneyland rides in our basement. And so we kind of just follow we think is.
Yeah, we did we thought the Disneyland rides in our basement would be fun. We did that video, and what's funny about that video is it actually went viral in England and in South Korea. The news people contacted us and they picked up the story and were showing this. And I was like, oh my gosh, because this is what they're saying. Like, look what Americans do in their basement. I'm like,
when they can't go to Disneyland.
Like, they assumed that every American was creating a Disneyland in their basement in South Korea. And they're like, oh yeah, this is very representative of all Americans. I'm like, no.
Well,
that's the thing that's going to be, you guys are going to be on South Park. You watch, they're going to do the Korean, and the Korean's going to be making fun of the American, and they're going to be having you like,
they're in the basement right to their own homemade rides.
We love being made fun of. So I'll take it. It's one of our favorite things is if people make, we love it. We love laughing.
Yeah.
So we're on board.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you noticed, Amanda's wearing her Haunted Mansion a shirt just for you guys because Haunted Mansion.
Halfway. And you got a haunted mansion-esque tie on today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So we love the Haunted Mansion.
Ashley has a question for you guys. So, knowing that you guys have done some international traveling, do you have a favorite ride? Do you have a favorite eatery, or we could say treat? That's the Monte Cristo, easy pick for Amanda. Which is the best character meet and greet, even an international character meet and greet? So, Chris, you want to go?
Yeah.
So, favorite ride, is that first?
Well, let's start with the character meet and greets. I'm going to say the Magic Kingdom down in Florida probably has the best character meet and greets. They have a lot of the obscure characters that you don't normally see. They have the country bears, a lot of the different villains going around. I love the villains. So whenever I see a villain, I'm always really happy about that. And so they have a lot of different characters there. I don't know if they just had pulled them out because of the pandemic or if that's how it always is, but man, they have tons of characters. So I'm gonna have to go with characters Walt Disney World.
And I'm going to say Disneyland Paris for the characters, and things are probably different now when they reopen. But what we noticed at Disneyland Paris is they take a lot of time with you.
Yeah.
And so we would sit and watch the characters, and when you get to your spot, you are their full attention. They will spend lots of time with you. It's not like, hey, here's a picture. I mean, they do that too. If you want to just get a picture, you can go on your way. But I saw them with the little kids, and they interacted. It was really incredible to see how much time and attention they spent with each individual.
Yeah, and Disneyland Paris has a rule. Like if you have Mickey Mouse in Adventureland, that's the only Mickey Mouse in the entire park. They will only ever have one Mickey Mouse on stage at a time. Whereas if you go to Disneyland, you might see like a Tomorrowland Mickey, and then go down into New Orleans, might see a Mickey appear there later on. But in Disneyland Paris, they will only allow one character to be represented at a time.
Which is fun because when you see, that character, you're like, that's it.
That's the guy.
I can't believe I saw them. We saw Mickey Mouse dressed up in his kind of Halloween costume, and he was by Phantom Manor, which is the Haunted Mansion for Disneyland Paris. And he was tucked away to the side. I felt like I was on a scavenger hunt, and I found him. So it makes it a little bit more special.
Yeah. As far as foods go, and the different foods, for me, I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna take the Monte Cristo sandwich. That's that is so good. I would literally, if I could dive into it and swim and eat and be in that sandwich forever, I would love it. It's so good. That's at Disneyland. It's at the New Orleans Cafe, but they have it at on the Disney California's Adventure site at the Smoke Jumpers Grill. So that's my favorite. I know that your favorite food is different.
Yeah, so that's my favorite meal, and then my favorite eatery, New Orleans, sitting outside eating the Monte Cristo sandwich and a mint julep. And my favorite treat is the Disneyland popcorn. I'm a Disneyland popcorn addict. It's a problem. I can't walk past a cart without going over and getting a little thing of popcorn. So,
and as far as the best rides, that's a hard question.
this is easy. I got this.
For me, Splash Mountain is one of my favorite things. I love Splash Mountain at Disneyland. I think it's a great ride. My really good friend, he's done all the voices. His name's Jess Harnell. He's the voice of Wacko, the Warner Brothers. He's like Ironhide and Transformers. He's this really good voice actor, and he's provided 9 of the 11 voices on Splash Mountain. So it means a lot to me. But I'm gonna say this, like I said, hold this in secretly. My favorite ride of all time is probably Big Thunder Mountain Railroad in Disneyland Paris. It is so good. It's the ride is on the Thunder Mountain. It's on its own island, and you get on, and it goes underneath a tunnel, underneath the rivers of America, and then you're on this island, and it goes faster. Its drops are more droppy.
It gets faster. You get faster and faster and faster and feel so out of control. It's amazing. It's the best Disney roller coaster, in my opinion.
Hands down.
And I know he's really excited, speaking international parks, he's really excited for Tron in Shanghai. I know they're building that in Florida, but he wants to go to the original. So he's excited about that one too.
Would you like to see brought to another part? Yeah, he's asking. So Tron would be your pick, but that's coming. Is there one? Mine, I want to ride Mystic Manor, man. That would be
Mystic Manor. Yeah. if there's any ride, Jay, to bring to Disneyland, so here's the thing about Disney. Oh, go ahead and say your favorite ride. You can
my favorite ride's easy. If you watch our show, it's Indiana Jones. That's easy. That will never change.
She rode that 17 times in one day, just over and over and over and over, and she loves it.
Yeah, that's easy.
I'm also a huge fan of Autopia, and a lot of people get like, oh, why do we have that? That would be the only ride I'd allow Autopia to be taken out is if they brought Tron over to Disneyland. Let's go ahead and take the submarines out and take Autopia, and we could put Tron through that area. I would be okay with that. I would love to see Tron come to Disneyland. It needs to happen.
Yeah,
for sure.
You don't appreciate how big that thing is until you see it in person.
Yes. Yeah. And then, I mean, I'm going to say this, Everest and Animal Kingdom, they have what's called the Himalayan Adventure. Mm-hmm. That ride is amazing. And it's so fun. And I wish that they had, that here as well.
Christian says his cousin is Jim Cummings. That's freaking awesome, man. That's Disney freaking Mount Rushmore you're talking about.
That's amazing. Jim Cummings, he does the voice of Winnie the Pooh. In fact, on my birthday, he sent me a voice message saying happy birthday, Chris.
And
I think he's coming to Fan X in September. He's coming to Fan X. Jim Cummings is friends with a lot of those different voice actors that I'm friends with. And so I know he's awesome. I mean, he is like up there as far as the voice world goes. Jim Cummings is great.
Yeah, so if you guys want to come to Fan X, he'll be there. That's so exciting.
You do your own fair share of moderation for Fan X in Salt Lake, which we were talking about off the air, is always one of those Comic-Cons that you got to just make the commitment. Being in California, it's like, man, like 1 year, I just got to like say, I'm just going to drive or fly or get there. It's like one of those ones. It's like Orlando. Orlando always has really solid lineups. It's like Orlando, Florida, California, Salt Lake for Comic-Cons, Texas is another one. It's like your destination cons kind of sprinkled throughout the country.
Yeah.
And then you just got to commit to getting yourself there because you guys always do have
we have it. So, they've done it. They used to do 2 shows a year. So this is actually coming up in September, our 13th show. And so it's our 7th year. They're only going to be doing 1 show a year now. But the first year, of course, we're scrambling, trying to get celebrities to come, right? And it's hard to get celebrities to come to your event when it's an unproven event. They don't want to go and just be sitting there, and they guarantee if it doesn't make it, they don't want to do that. But we ended up getting William Shatner, and we ended up getting Stan Lee, which is a big thing.
Damn.
Yeah, and then after that, people talked about how good that the celebrities were treated. Now, for us, we get the celebrities will come. I'm not talking the managers. The actual celebrities will reach out and say, "Can we come to Fan X?" And because they've heard it's such a good experience, the fans are so good, and so it's something you should try to come to if you can. It is so fun. You're going to spend a lot of time with celebrities. They've got the great panels. It's a lot. I mean, it's our whole weekend, the whole year.
Yeah, it's one of our best weekends of the year. It's so fun because Chris is able to be on stage moderating the panels and emceeing. And then we also do a Provost Park Pass Disneyland Secrets Revealed panel that people can come and learn the secrets and trivia and history of Disneyland. It's just a great experience all around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever you're into, they have it.
Right on, man. The thing that's fun too is when you get to moderate, I have found with Sinister Creature is that you get to see the inner workings. It's almost like you're living a true Hollywood story, like special or like a A&E documentary of like production, because you don't have, when you're there as a fan, I don't think you really truly understand how many people behind the scenes. When you're there as press, you get like little peeks here and there. But when you're working a con, like you get the full appreciation of how many people. It's like Disneyland, like having the full appreciation of behind the scenes of how many people are sweating to make sure that there is that product of. And you and I have the same job. We're the one on stage just having like a conversation, and the fun part of the whole thing, like we're walking down the hallway and man, like that dinner last night, yuck, and walk out on stage and like Meanwhile, my team is like, bro, when do I get to take a lunch? And I'm like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That is, and that's
It's
what
a
people
lot.
don't see is everybody sees the fun things of it. They're like, oh, it'll be fun to be on stage. They don't realize how hard everybody's working backstage, getting people to where they need to be, making sure that you have the safety protocols in place, and just it's a huge production, but it's worth it in the end.
yes, totally. It's a very cool feeling to have put out at the end
Yeah.
of it too.
So
And
I
the
have
fact that I was just going to say the fact that it's going to be live is a whole nother level of like, hey,
yeah.
we made it. And
We're so excited. We're so excited about it. So I have something I think you might find interesting because I know you guys like horror so much. So Amanda used to do, she was like a social media expert for like companies to help her. They'd come in and she would help them with social media. And she was hired by a company called Fear Factory. It's a haunted house in Salt Lake. And she knew nothing about horror when they said, we just want our presence to be out there. She knew nothing about horror. But she's like, yeah, I'll do that. So when she was done with her campaign, they were like in the top 10. I think right now they're top 5 haunt in the country. So she started diving in, watching horror movies, learning all about horror. And she did not like horror when she first got this. Now she loves it. And she's become a complete fan. But I made a huge mistake because when I found out, she's like, okay, let's watch horror movies. I want to learn about this. I understand. I pulled out one of my very favorite horror movies, and it was the wrong one to introduce somebody to horror to. And
if you don't know anything.
if you don't know anything about horror, it was Cabin in the Woods. Such a good movie.
All the little tropes and stuff. If you're not like,
she didn't get any of it. Yeah, so she didn't get any of it.
I didn't get it because I didn't know the formula.
It's like that's like the punchline first.
I didn't know the formula. I didn't know how things were supposed to unfold in these types of movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, this is.
She's like, this is dumb.
Understand.
I don't get this.
Like, what is this? And so I had to kind of go back and start from square one, and then work my way into it a little bit.
Yeah. So again,
telling the punchline first.
That's exactly right. It's perfect. But now she's appreciative of the movie, understands it. She's like, okay, this is genius. I love this.
Oh yes.
So yeah.
Yes.
So yeah.
Right on. So now that you have become a fan, or at least into the world, what is your favorite?
Well, I have a couple favorites. One of my favorite kind of scary movies is The Babadook. The reason why I like it is I feel like it has hidden meaning to it. It's not just for jump scares, but I feel like it can kind of tie into mental health. It can tie into like facing your demons. There's, a lot of depth in that movie that I really love. But it's a good movie. I love The Shining. My favorite TV show is The Haunting. Is it Haunting of Hill House? That was my favorite. I loved everything about that show. I thought it was just beautiful. It was a beautiful, scary show.
And that if you haven't seen it, like I think it's episode 6. We're talking about like long takes and being like a play. They're doing those long takes in the where the mortuary, I think, and they're just
in the house,
and the house is changing, and the kids going back, and it was all these long takes. And it was amazing. I think it's some of the best cinematography I've seen in television in a long time.
It's been fun for me because now going back to Disney parks, that's what I feel like we always go back to. But it's actually been fun for me to kind of tie in some of that, new love with the Disney parks. I've loved learning more about like the haunted mansions of Disneyland, Phantom Manor, the story, Mystic Manor, like you mentioned. I'm so excited to go there. I know that it's not kind of scary, spooky because of their culture, but I'm so excited to see how they were able to tie that in. Ghost stories at Disneyland. Like, it's been really fun to kind of dive deep to be like, oh, what's kind of spooky at Disneyland, because there are some spooky things, and that's been fun to tie that together with my first love, Disney parks, and then now my new love of horror.
Yeah. So
Disney ghost stories are the coolest. We did a podcast series of looking at the different, like the lady who fell off on monorail.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
In Florida, the Pirates construction worker. Like, there's some creepy stories there, man.
Yes.
Well, so here's the thing. There are some actually really cool stories and like the creepy stories. And I think we talked about this a little behind the air. I love to hear those stories. We love to talk about them. We never show those really on our YouTube channel because we try our best to make sure it's positive, like a positive family friendly thing. But there's little stories that the other YouTubers have done. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. And to talk about that. But we have done
the top 10 scary or top 5 scary ghost stories, I think, but we kept it very family friendly. Like
a big compliment. When they had the Haunted Mansion 50th anniversary, they had a party that went late night, I think like 4 a.m.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got to go to that. And Josh Tomorrow at the time was the president of the Disneyland, and now he's the president of all the Disneyland resorts. He's like the number 2 guy. And he actually came up and says, Provost Park Pass, you guys are always positive. We love that. Thank you so much.
That's what I'm saying. See, the president says it.
Yeah. When he said my jaw's like, oh.
There's a lot of P's there. Where's Provost Park Pass?
Positive. We'll take it. So and so that was just a real validation for us. Like, oh, we love that fact that they've recognized that we're trying to be positive.
We do. We definitely try to just bring joy and magic and make people feel good and happy and stay positive, even when it's tough.
We did not even, this is proof positive to have you back just on the podcast because we didn't even talk about Miles through everything. Oh. You guys have a third amigo, so to speak, on your channel. Yeah. Your little guy. Miles is what, 4?
He's 4. He's 4.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so on top of traveling around the world, now you're making the commitment that you guys are going to handle international travel at like the heaviest level. You also are going to have to take care of Miles.
Yeah.
Like, that burden on my shoulders isn't quite heavy enough. Why don't you go ahead and throw a couple more plates on there? Like, holy.
Yes, our hands are definitely full with everything that we tackle.
I think we're like, Miles is a very good traveler. But he's been doing it since he's little, so he kind of just doesn't really. It's not too foreign to him, but he does really well. He is very rambunctious, lots of energy, and he likes to learn new things.
He's open for anything.
He's open to anything. So he's like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. So he's excited. So like when we go like to ride roller coasters, he wants to be there. He's like, please, and he's always getting measured. Am I tall enough? I'm tall enough.
He cried when we took him to be measured at. Well, I was actually thinking Disney World, Space Mountain.
Oh yeah.
He cried. He couldn't ride it, and so I waited.
He doesn't understand. He doesn't understand. He's like,
ready to go.
why can I not go on this?
The only problem that we needed, I think. Well, the thing that's going to happen with Miles is he's going to take over our show.
For sure.
So you guys aren't even going to see us anymore. It's going to be him. He's taking over.
Well, we have a really good Patreon community where we have a Provost Park Pass Patreon. And one of the things that they suggested, they're like, can you please, they called it Miles Cam.
Miles Cam.
Can you give the camera to Miles? And I was like, and just make a video for us Patreon members so we can watch the view from a 4-year-old's point of view. And we're like, okay, it's going to be shaky and crazy. But we gave him a little camera, and we're like kind of got like one that was like if he dropped it,
GoPro to his head. What'd you do?
Yeah, and he was running around, and he was like talking about everything, and like he was trying. It's funny because you don't realize how much the little sponges, because he's like talking. He's like, well, this is something like this, and this is something about this.
Yeah, he was showing everything.
He's being you.
Yeah.
He'll show like the floor, and I remember he showed the otters and I think he went around and talked about the otters. He's like, hi guys, let me show you the otters. So he loves it. He loves it. So that makes it fun for us too. Our hands are definitely full, but it makes it, makes it fun.
Yeah.
Keeps us on our toes.
We went, I'll tell you, the first time we went to Disneyland with Miles, he was 6 weeks old. And I was with our friends, and we have a bunch of people that help us with our show for Provost Park Pass, and they all have like nicknames. We have one that's called Thumbnail Dave because he does most of the thumbnails for YouTube and most of our graphics. We have producer Zach who does editing, and cameraman Greg does a lot of the camera work for us. And we were there, and Miles was 6 weeks old, and I was with Thumbnail Dave and some of our other friends, and Amanda and our other friends went to ride Pirates of the Caribbean. And I was like, well, I got a brand new baby, so I won't ride it. So Thumbnail Dave's like, well, I'll stay with you. We'll just chat and talk. So everybody went to get in the ride, and the cast member's like, well, why aren't you riding the ride? I'm like, baby. He's like, babies can go on it. I'm like, babies can go on it? I was like, oh. So I'm like running down the line, And Amanda's eyes were like, what are you doing? Pirates, and
that's his first
yeah,
ride.
it was his first ride.
6 weeks
He had
old.
no problem at all. But there's a part where you're going through Pirates, you're going through a cavern. They used to have like this fog, like mist to come down, projections on it, and they hadn't redone it yet. And that was going on, and this big fat drop of water went, and it landed right on his forehead, and just went, and he's like, he did not like that. But other than that, he was fine. So.
I know, it's cute. So I think going back to like what Chris said, he doesn't know any different.
Yeah.
We've been dragging him around since 6 weeks old. He's like, this is normal life.
So yeah.
And he loves it though.
He's even the best international traveler on the planet, man.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, my friends that co-host the panel's production team, they have a son who's coming up on his first birthday who's going to Disneyland sooner than later, and it's like the work for a 1-year-old. I can't even imagine the work for a 6-week-old in the park.
It was a lot.
Yes.
It's a lot. So for your friends who are going that have a 1-year-old, some good things to know at Disneyland. Did you say Disneyland? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's at the end of Main Street on the right-hand side, there's like a baby care station. And you can get any supplies that you forgot if you left them there. They have special areas where if they're nursing or anything like that.
Need to change them.
They have little teeny tiny toilets just for kids if they have to go. Of course, the 1-year-old is not going to be using that, but it's a good place. And they also can be like a little quiet area where you can just go and get away. They have it there, and they also have it at Disney California Adventure.
And the best thing about the baby care center is you can see a picture of baby Walt Disney.
Yeah, Walt when he's
like cute little baby outfit,
white dress,
cute little white dress. It's so cute. So if nothing else, go just so you see baby Walt, baby Disney.
So I'll leave you with this, because everybody who is watching Chris and Amanda right now, check out Provost Park Pass wherever you are, social media, YouTube, search Provost Park Pass. That's where you're going to find Chris and Amanda. That takes care of the hard question of where can people find you.
Thank you so much.
We are halfway to Halloween. Is there a haunt that you are most excited to cover this fall?
Oh man.
Oh. Good question. So can I tell you something? This is kind of crazy. And Jimmy, you're going to need to come back because Amanda loves paranormal stuff.
I did.
She's obsessed with it. And people have asked her, and she has to do what's called Paranormal Park Pass and go to different places. And we have our friend, he actually owns what's called Skinwalker Ranch. It's on the History Channel. They do this whole thing about aliens and the TV show.
Yeah, I've heard that name.
Yeah, it's place. I've been able to go visit it.
Yeah, and so Amanda wants to go to Skinwalker Ranch and do an episode.
It's a really incredible place. It was fun. He flew me out in a helicopter to go check it out. I got to drive around the grounds and check it out, and it's amazing. I mean, there's a lot going on there. It's amazing. So we've got some really fun stuff that hopefully we'll be able to get off the ground. And then tying back to Disneyland, because we always tie back to Disneyland. Sure. I already have all of our haunted, kind of scary, again, family friendly, but I already have all of our videos that I want to do that will be coming out like September and October for Halloween. That ties back to Disneyland. I've got it all worked out, and I'm so excited for it. I can't even wait. I told Chris about all of the ideas, and he said, wow, those are actually good ideas.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, way to go.
So I'm excited for that.
Production manager number 1 over here. Well, yeah, man, that's definitely, we got to talk off air about all the paranormal research and stuff we do. That sounds like fun. But Chris and Amanda, I thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us.
Actually, let us thank you for inviting us. That was so kind of you. We're so glad to be part of this. We love your community. And so we're glad to be here. It's our pleasure.
Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who tuned in and listened today. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Stay tuned. We have that jam-packed roundtable conversation coming up at the top of the hour. Make sure you check out Chris and Amanda at Provost Park Pass, social media, and on YouTube.